KP.
Hey, sweet baby Asher.
Ash, did you comb your hair and get a haircut? What happened?
Just took a shower.
That's
No,
good.
it's not cut. It's
Cleaned up.
still shoulder length in the back.
So, do you have TV yet or not?
We haven't had a minute. We haven't had a minute.
Well, don't send me things to do and then not follow up, okay?
Well, we will follow up.
The TV's included now, right?
I know.
TVs. We will.
By the way, it looks like Trudy. It's Trudy Dryer's waiting there.
I had to get food. I know TV is a higher priority for some, but we have to go get some food.
We have to first get batteries to see get the remote going.
Yeah, the remote's dead.
We need batteries. I may go out later to Walgreens.
Shall I let Trudy in, even though she's not family?
Who?
Trudy. It looks like Trudy Dryer. We'll just hold her off for a little bit.
Who's supposed to be here tonight?
You mean what family? You think I've lost track? I've lost track.
Who's leading tonight?
That is.
My friend Sean Zevit is leading. Oh my God, with John Mason.
No, you're the host, though.
Host.
You're the host.
Mason's.
There you are.
Raisel's a host.
Well,
Has to
Pace.
be the host.
Asher's our main attraction tonight, though.
Slideshows can be ready to go.
Are you? God, Ash, did you do anything else today, or you just whipped that into shape?
Internet's a good source.
You what?
The internet's a lot of help.
The internet was a lot of help. Okay. Okay. Like, I recognize all these people. Leah Novak is a rabbi. John Mason is a former congregant of mine. So I don't want them all in. Leah's a friend, but I don't want them all in yet. I'd rather talk to my family.
And then move it along. We got to watch President Trump in Dalton, Georgia tonight.
What time is that? Really? You'd cut a Shiva short for Trump?
No, but I
You
would have
believe
cut.
me,
I
huh?
would have cut it for Jeopardy because this is the last 5 episodes of Alex Trebek.
Well, didn't we end Jeopardy on now?
Coming on at 7:30.
Well,
Some places.
I can let you in at 8 too.
We're taping it.
You're taping it. Okay, good. I see.
Some places are 7 and some places are 7:30.
This is it.
This is the final.
Very sad.
it's my he's in my Zoom room here. Batman. So Asher, I'm going to find my YouTube channel that has family videos on it. Let me see if I can find out which one that is. I have it somewhere. Ferenzi's here too, but I'm not letting him yet in. Don't let him in.
Probably.
Pace, your sound is a little low, so you might want to turn that up a little.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, okay, all right.
Yeah. So
I can hear you now. So let's see if I can find out which is the family video. I set up a Google what's it called? The Google YouTube thing, just for family videos that I've been putting up over the years. Might as well use that. YouTube.
You can use it tomorrow because Asher has an 8-minute presentation.
Tomorrow.
No, he's going to do it tonight. You can do yours tomorrow.
I don't have one.
Oh, I thought you had a family one. You said.
No. I sent it all to Ash. Log in. YouTube usernames.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do besides take back the
Had to go to the bank, the post office, have a little lunch.
Had a little lunch. I have to say, of all the things that everybody is taking of my mother's legacy, lunch seems to be the one.
Uh-huh. Karen Miller Price said she was gonna miss her lunches with Natalie.
His music, topic is music.
Right
All
after
right,
cricket.
I have to go to YouTube accounts.
Aaron probably doesn't deal with a lot of clients anymore. Natalie, Mommy, that was probably one of her last few.
Yeah,
Is that true?
I'd say she's still, still involved with quite a few.
Okay, I figured out which one has the family videos. Hold on. Let's see. YouTube. It's not that one.
We had a nice chat with Cindy Kaplan.
Oh, you did? Like,
Yeah,
on Facebook or?
yeah, we
it's called a
called.
telephone.
We letting Rhonda in?
Yeah, let Rhonda in.
Barry?
Who?
Barry Mandel?
Yeah. Let them in. Give them a welcome while I do this thing. I have to log out. All right, I might not be able
Hey YouTube, how's it going? I am fine, feeling lonely. I still don't know how to cope.
All right, I have to do this later. I can't do it now.
Hello, Mandel family. You're on mute. Can you unmute him, Asher?
Where did you
What's
guys?
wrong with your state down there? You're just as bad as we are.
They keep flooding.
You're still on mute.
I'm still on mute. Wait, and where is?
They got politicians like we do.
Oh, seriously. We already chastised the Barons yesterday for it, for sending their new senator up there. And then they turned around and threw it right back in our face.
But we have a brand new one too, who's already.
Well, y'all actually have two, but
The one before, she's the worst. She's
Oh, she is.
Fox News.
I'm going to have to buy her book and read it and have to understand her because how a conservative woman thinks.
don't try and understand it.
Yeah, you
Don't
won't.
try and understand it.
I got it. I'm like,
Good. And Pace and Karen.
How you
Hello,
doing?
everybody from Memphis.
Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda.
You're in Memphis?
Rhonda Robinson.
I'm visiting my friend Hal in Memphis this
You're
week.
in Memphis. Welcome.
She is. Rhonda, who do you belong to so I can explain it to my mom?
I'm Alfred and Sandy's daughter.
Oh, Alfred and Sandy's daughter. It's who's? Alfred and Sandy's daughter.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. So glad to see
Yeah,
you.
I'm letting Jan Barrett
I can
in.
see now you look like Alfred in the eyes too.
Sandy
I've been
Kaplan.
told that.
Jan, yes. And Glory. Oh, there's Cindy. Yes.
Robinsons are in the house. Eli's in his studio. Eli, do you need the headphones? What does that add to is it just an image issue? You have to look more professional.
Well, Sarah's not going to be joining us for Shiva's 2 through 25. So I'm trying to be, conscious of the fact that she's a one Shiva kind of gal.
Okay, so you're just.
Randy, are you in Florida or is that just the backdrop?
No, I'm in Florida, and I felt like that was a suitable backdrop for my mother.
In that car, Randy,
Who's talking to me?
Marlene. I'm right next to my twin.
Oh, Marlene, I hadn't seen you.
Randy, I have to tell you before we get started, I thought you were incredible at the service.
Oh, thank you. Considering that I wrote that thing in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, I was sitting at my mother's, at the bedside for a few days, and I said, Mom, here's probably what I'm going to say about you. And then I dictated into my own bunch of things. And And then probably 1 a.m. after New Year's Eve, I sat and how to put it all together. I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, or if it was going to come out.
Well, it came out great.
It did. There were some funny things like the Lonsdale drink was hysterical.
It's hysterical.
I want to know
was
whose
hysterical.
child
There were a bunch of them are.
Okay, Eli belongs to Karen and Paige.
Very.
Okay.
And then Asher's up at the
Tilt
top.
the
Uh-huh.
camera so y'all can see mom's face a little bit more. She looks like y'all cut her
Goodness,
off.
my goodness.
What?
Tilt this camera so y'all can see mom's face a little bit better.
Cindy wants you to tilt the camera so you can.
Tilt the camera down, the screen down. There you go. Now
There
we
you
have
go.
Barry, though. We've got half a Barry.
Oh, look.
Who is Daniel? Is that Daniel Gluck?
Hi, Hollow.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, Daniel's on. I'm driving. I'm
Okay.
listening.
We weren't sure which Daniel. Glad to have you in the house, Daniel Gluck.
Of course.
Okay, you're in Florida.
Daniel.
Yeah. Hi. How are you guys?
I'm down here too. Kathy Reback. We'll let Kathy and Gary in.
Gary smiles now. We saw it yesterday.
You saw who? Kathy?
We saw Gary smile yesterday on camera.
He smiled? Is that what you're
He
saying?
is. Maybe people get, look, smile, Gary. Hey, look at him. Look at him.
Gary, you're infamous for that smile.
Kathy, you're on mute, babe.
There you go.
There you go.
We're welcoming the Robinson family. Do you all know each other? Do you know Rhonda, Dan? Do you know everybody? There's a couple of Glucks in the house once they turn their screens on. I'm glad to see you, Glucks. You've been AWOL from the family reunions.
Hey.
We had to pull a Shiva card to get you to show up.
And so you got to do what you got to do sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
We gotta have a holiday to see our crew.
Yeah. Grace, Elon, let Grace in the screen. Come on. There you go.
I can't even hear. He has his headphones on.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Headphones. Elon, she's your wife now.
I know. Hold
You
on.
can share her with us.
It's been a couple months.
For those of you who don't know, that's Grace and Elon. Maybe you could turn your phone sideways and get you both.
Elon goes with
You know how to
Richard.
do this,
That's
Elon.
Richard's son, Elon. Gluck.
There we go. Now we
There
can
you
hear you.
Okay.
Hello,
So,
everybody.
you know, that's Richard and Beth's middle son there, Elon. And Daniel's on here. That's Joel's oldest. And Hallel, can you pop your head in there, Hallelujah, and just say hello? That's my daughter, if she will grace us. She may not make an appearance until exactly 8 o'clock. We don't want her to use up any extra minutes that are necessary. Lori and Jan, thank you. You guys have been wonderful. Oh, there he is, the Atlanta chief.
Thank you.
Atlanta chief is checking in. And Richard, you're there. Thank you for being in the house. Say hello. You see the Mandels and Jan and Kathy and Gary. Anybody seen Rick lately? Have we lost him?
Rick Reback, he's going to get a haircut.
No, not that.
Sinai to get the tablets.
Maybe he's still looking for the Afikoman. God almighty.
Is JG, you think JG's Joel? Probably. Ash.
Richard Gluck, is that a dog's tail behind you?
Richard's got a big old dog.
Oh, it looks like a dog tail.
I know he's got my dog with him right now, so that's probably.
He's muted.
You're on mute, Rich.
He's got your dog? Your dog is the big poodle?
I got Elon's dog and I got Benji's dog. That's what I've become.
How much do you charge for that babysitter?
$100 a day.
JG is Jamin Gluck.
Hey.
Jamin, that's Benjamin, son of Richard. Well, you got in here because we thought JG was Joel. That was
Close,
nice.
better looking.
That was a nice slip in there.
What's the story of the red car?
The red car, I would bring Mom down here and to Florida. I'm in Florida, and get a rental. And why not get a convertible? Because she always had to step up into the car. It was just easier to get her in there. So I decided this was part of her PT, that she had to step down to get into the convertible. And so she was kind of, why do we have to have a convertible? It'll mess up my hair on the first day or so. And then by the second day, she was with the program. So, hey, Jen, you say hello? No, they haven't figured out the mute yet.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Everyone.
Is your crew behind you now?
I had to shut the door. There's some kind of family business going on, so I had a little bit noisy.
Okay. Will they make an appearance here?
It's possible.
It's possible. Okay.
Yeah.
You might have to up, you might have to up the ante.
Well, I think they're aware that this is hump day on Shiva, so they may be, they may be sitting this one out. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. And Jamin, come back for a second. You there? Or did we lose him?
I'm here. Hey there.
Where are you?
I'm in downtown Atlanta. Yep.
Downtown Atlanta. Okay. You just moved back there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just moved back here. Was in New York for 5.5 years prior. And I'm actually getting my mural painted. You would like it, Razel. I'll send a picture to you afterwards.
What do you mean you're getting a mural painted? Inside your apartment or outside?
Yeah, in my kitchen as we speak.
Well, take us on a little tour and show it to us.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I didn't know if I should show now, but okay,
Yeah.
if you insist. Only because you insist.
I insist. We're hanging out. We're getting to know each other a little bit here.
Okay.
Elon and Jamin bailed on New York from Elon.
We bailed.
Look at that.
Wow, nice.
What is it, a sun?
Geometric shapes.
Geometric shapes. And who's painting it? Look at that.
Who's that?
Did you buy this place or you're renting?
Yeah, I bought it. I'm also redoing my bathroom.
Hey.
Ooh, nice. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. It's nice to see everyone, and
Thank you.
happy I could be a part of this.
Yes.
I loved visiting the lake for lots of reasons, but certainly Mommy Nat's hospitality was one of them. So it's a pleasure to be here to celebrate her life.
Feel free to tell a story. Richard.
Oh, I have a story actually.
Yes.
All right.
Well, one story I wanted to bring up, it's actually not related to the lake, but I had the privilege of hosting Mommy Nat and Bubba Faye.
Tell that story. Hey.
In Wisconsin. I can't for the life of me find these photos, although it's crazy now with so many photos. I'll find them though, because I know we took good ones, but Mommy Nat went to the University of Wisconsin, and so did I. While she wasn't there, I don't think for more, was it a year or maybe just a semester, but one of the two. She had a quick stint there. She and Bubba Faye came to visit me when I was a junior, and I was shocked with how well she remembered that place. She said, here's the place where I would eat, like it was very memorable time for her. It seemed like, I think they had a quota at that time. It was either for women or for Jews or maybe for both. But she was fulfilling both of those. And it was certainly, I picked them up from the airport, and I got them both t-shirts that said, one said like proud grandma and one said proud Wisconsin alum or something like that. So it was awesome. They were.
When was that? Do you remember the date?
No, but if you give me a second, I'm gonna do some deeper digging. Maybe it's on Facebook, the pictures, because I took pictures. I just don't remember when. I'll follow up with you.
Was it June you were graduating or May?
Well, it wasn't for my graduation. It was for a year prior. So,
Oh, really? I thought it was freshman year.
It was just
no,
a
no,
party
no, no.
weekend for Bub and Mommy Nat.
Yeah, exactly. I remember they crinkled around. We had this little farmer's market, but slow and steady wins the race. They certainly were slow and steady, but won the race. It was, you know, my friends loved them. They took us out for lunch. We had cheese curds.
Did they stay at the frat house?
No, they actually stayed at a hotel, probably the one that Abba and Ima used to stay at. But it was super cool. I gotta find those pictures. But it was awesome. What? They're out there. Yeah, exactly. They took, you know, all my friends got to meet them. We went out to a nice dinner with my closest friends, but a lunch with my second tier friends. So we did it. We were busy.
Hey, Robinson and Levinsons and Raphaels and everyone, I just want to say hi. I'm lurking here. It's Sean in Philadelphia. So
Sean
good to see.
Sean and Simcha are my two rabbinic colleagues who are going to be leading tonight's service. Hey,
As long as I look around, I recognize a few of the faces. We probably have a little less hair and it's a little bit grayer than when we first all met, but it's bittersweet to see all of you here. I'm glad we could be here to support you, and I'm sad for the occasion, but just sending you lots of love and wrapping our arms around you all.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Simcha, and I also extend my condolences, of course, to all of you. I'm holding you, Razel, and your family in our hearts, and I'm honored to be here with you now.
Thank you. So I see Ethan Robinson's here. Who hasn't said hello? Jarvin, Uncle Jarvin, you're here. You say hello too. And Kathy and Gary, why don't you unmute and say hello?
Hello, we're here.
We're here. I thought you did a very touching job at the funeral, Razel.
Thank you.
It was very emotional, and it affected all of us.
Wasn't easy. Wasn't easy.
I remember one year, either right before we were married or maybe after we were married.
Which was a long time
Which
ago.
was a long time ago. We, your parents had us over for dinner one night during Passover, I think, and I still have, I loved this squash casserole that your mother made, and I still have her handwritten recipe on a card. I like that kind of thing. So,
wow.
And it's still a good recipe.
I don't ever remember the squash casserole. Pace or AJ, do you remember a squash casserole? That might have been a one-time thing.
I remember it, and I wasn't even there.
I remember
No, I remember it was definitely squash casserole.
Really?
You use squash
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, nobody ate it, but it was. I remember it.
Well, I liked it. I'll send it to you.
Just forgive me for one moment. I'm just going to test something here. Okay, good. Can you all see Natalie there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
we
good.
can.
Good.
Great.
Just take her off. I just wanted to make sure that we were good to go.
Yeah, it looks like we got a real pro here tonight.
Yeah.
If he could get that picture up that quickly.
You have no idea.
That's an improvement on the last couple of nights. Found someone who had some real live experience with Shiva pictures.
You give love and sound though. That would be the ultimate test.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
sometimes sometimes the emotion is more important than the professionalism, but Sean has both. Sean has both. Sean and I know each other from Toronto and in Philadelphia, came to rabbinical school, and we have been singing partners for, I don't know, 20 years,
Wow.
maybe a while. Yeah.
More
So
than
we
that,
can get
close to
some of
30.
those, we can get into some of those Toronto stories tonight. Then. Is that what you're saying?
Do you have some of them, AJ, or you're just talking about Razel? You can make some up if you want. That's fine.
You need to move Ethan into the picture, AJ. Ethan needs to be here.
There he is.
There you go.
And here's Michaela over here.
Oh, here's Michaela. What happened to the family shoot? Where
Hey,
they
cousins.
We lost a couple of family members today.
Well, hopefully you can find.
What a handsome looking family. I'm looking around all these boxes and I tell you, you really cut from some very sweet cloth, all of you. We all radiate.
So I'll tell all of you right now that the other night, the night that Mom died, I got a email from MyHeritage, which is one of the genealogy sites, that said I had a match with a Robinson cousin that we had done the genealogy. This family had all come to most of you or some of you had come to the family reunion. And so this was like a bingo of the piece of the family that Yodel Rabinovich, who we're all descended from. He had a sister who went to South Africa, and we totally lost touch. That's a great grandfather. But that sister showed up in a genealogy match with somebody named David Levine in Australia. So as you can imagine, I haven't had time to track it down, but I felt like Mom just went right to work and tried to find the missing pieces for us. So I'm asking her to find the rest of them too. But I'll keep you posted. That's late breaking news.
The concept of someone matching with you, producing two of you in the world would be
not two of me.
Shattering.
Not two of me.
I have two shopping stories to tell you about your mom.
Okay, great.
One of them was right after David passed away. I went to Knoxville with the girls, and they took me to the store, the dress shop, and had me pick out some things, and they wouldn't let me pay for them. It was the sweetest thing. And so, and I'm surprised I still don't have them in my closet, but that was a long time ago. That was in the 60s. And then at some family event, I don't know what it was, Natalie and I went shopping. We were in a hotel, and there was a shopping center right close by, and we found a Chico's. And believe it or not, I am still wearing that top that I bought that day. And every time I wear it, I think
bring me another piece.
She likes Chico's.
Yes.
Definitely like Chico's. Uncle Jarvin, are you there? Lori, you want to say hello, Lori? Lori Barron coming in from St. Louis.
Hi. I just wanted to say that a year and a half ago, my father Richard passed away here in St. Louis, and just that Razel and Simcha both immediately called and spent a lot of time on the phone with my mom and me, singing and praying and just giving us so much, it was like family and rabbinic comfort all wrapped up into one. And so we just appreciated that so much, and Simcha told us the things we should read, and then he ended up like the very next month, coincidentally speaking at my parents' synagogue, and so we got to spend quite a bit of time with him that weekend. So we just I felt like we got a lot closer to you guys during that time, and I hope that we can. I hope you feel closer to us now that you're going through, the same thing. So we just appreciate you guys so much, and we love you.
Thank you, Lori. I see Jacob Gluck wandered in here. Say hello, Jacob. Say hello.
Hey guys.
These are all your cousins. A lot of Robinsons.
Hey everyone. Glad to be here.
I see you show us a picture of the baby. Come on. There's a new twig on the family tree. Introduce him to all your relatives here before.
He's fast asleep. It's already 8 o'clock. Hell, I'm almost asleep.
Can't you?
Well, wake him up. You gotta wake him up.
Should I?
Can't you sneak in? Can you just sneak in there and take the camera? Sneak in?
I can sneak in.
That's great training if you've already got him asleep at 8 o'clock.
Oh, he's 7 to 7. Not a. What are you doing? What? I'm going.
Yes.
Oh, well, there I go. I'm not waking him up. I want to see Levi. Anyway, I tried. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm happy to be here in all seriousness.
And that's Sandy
picture will
Robbins.
do.
Picture there.
You see
I
Levi
saw Sandy
Robert?
and Alfred.
Oh. I got a picture somewhere of this kid.
Hey, Ray's
Sandy and Alfred.
you a
Let's
picture.
ask
Showed
you
you guys a picture.
Oh,
Go
It was
put it
black.
right in front of the.
Well, I got about 1,100 pictures. If you want, I can send you a link.
Or you could screen share after the service.
Okay.
Oh, look, Richard's holding one up. Richard's
That's it.
holding one up for you.
Oh,
There's one of our newest twigs.
1 year old.
So Sandy and, so Alfred and Shirley, I actually had intended to have a Robinson reunion. I mean, both of you turned 90 this year. I feel like we need to celebrate that. I feel like we needed to celebrate that, Alfred and Shirley. So it kind of got away from me, but at some point I would like to do that. But in the meantime, we can just tell you happy birthday.
They said happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you.
Randy
Yeah, Sandy
and Joyce.
and
All
Joyce.
three of them.
All three of you
Joyce
turned
did.
90? Did Joyce turn 90?
All three.
Oh, I didn't
Within,
know.
I think, a month of each other. Maybe Al and Shirley know better.
Yeah.
When is Joyce's birthday?
birthday?
You remember?
When is
June.
what?
Joyce's birthday.
it's like June 17th, I think.
I'm in August. I think Joyce is June and maybe Alfred is in July. I'm not sure.
Is Alfred in July?
Yes.
Okay, then Joyce's is in June.
June, yeah.
I
Wow.
think it's the 16th, June
That's it.
16th.
What was going on 9 months before that in the Robinson family?
Lori are all born within 3 weeks of each other.
Really?
Yeah. The Andy Robinson family was very busy.
I guess so. 9 months before, there must have been nothing going on. Okay, any questions that anybody has for each other or for Sean or anything that?
Well, let me just say something on behalf of Rabbi Simcha and myself. So some of you saw the PowerPoint. Natalie actually just cued me and said, it's lovely hearing all the conversation, but I would like to come in at some point. So I want to honor her request. And as AJ already pointed out, there's a nice photo of your mom and grandma waiting for you. So I just want to acknowledge that you're here, her children and children-in-law and grandchildren and cousins and relatives, and just what an amazing group of all of you who are here to be held by those people in the waiting room and the rest of the people coming on their way. So, there's often this thing called a Shiva service. It's not really a specific service called a Shiva service. It's the evening service. And we've tried to put together some things for you that we hope will be of comfort and of care. And it's all on a PowerPoint. So if you have a Siddur, of course, by all means, do what you need to do, or you can work with the screen and the things that we're going to share and not. And there'll be some time to share. I know, Pace, you had prepared, before we say Kaddish tonight, you were going to share some reflections on your mom as well. So if that's okay with all of you, we'll bring
I just wanted one more thing.
Natalie up.
Hold on. Hold on, Sean.
She wanted to come in. She wanted to come in.
Got it. I just wanted Yigdal. I just saw Yigdal got here, so I wanted Yigdal.
Yeah, he's here now.
We'll holler out to say hello. So can we?
Hey y'all. Hey Yiggs. Sorry, I'm running characteristically late.
That's all right. Can everybody see him? He's here. There's Yigdal and there's Joyce. So, Joyce, we were just wishing you happy birthday for your 90th. And Yigdal's here, and somewhere is Hallel. So maybe she'll show up later. Okay, so you want to put that back up, Shanzi, and then we'll let everybody in.
And we'll start, Reza, with the melody as you bring people in, just to help us get settled.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this Zoom Shiva in honor of Natalie Robinson. We are so glad that you are all here from all corners of wherever. And on behalf of the Robinson-Raphael and Levison family, your presence here means a lot to us. And I'm going to turn this over to Rabbi Sean and Rabbi Simcha Zevit to begin.
See ya. I don't know if you want to sit through all this. You're more than welcome.
So even on mute, if you'd like to sing along. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, aho ve'hayam, vishru shamayim, baraka shamayim, Tfilat Adam Hachol Ve'ayam Rishu Shel Hamayim Barak HaShamayim Tfilat Shekhinah, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, Aho ve'hayam, Rishru shel hamayim, Barak hashamayim, Tfilat So Bruchim Habaim, welcome. As Razel already brought you all in, and his family and his friends, Sean and Simcha here. We count ourselves in the fan club of Natalie's family, and many years knowing some of you, repeated visits to Philadelphia and other occasions, and it's a bittersweet to be here with you to mourn Natalie, but also to be in this field of love and get a chance to support all of you as you remember her and celebrate her life while mourning her passing at the same time. So our experience this evening will hopefully give us a chance to just sail, the range of feelings anybody may have. We want to recognize some of you are joining for the first time tonight. Maybe you were able to view the funeral on Zoom and it's your first Shiva minyan. Others of you bought the Natalie package and you're coming on every evening because you just don't want to miss one evening and you're able to do so. So whatever the particular circumstance, just know that we are gathered here in this sacred community, limited by not being able to be with each other, but for Natalie and for all your family's sake, enabled
by this technology to be together in ways that we might not have, and certainly some of us would not have. So I just want to recognize might be some feelings of both the distance and the absence, but also just the joy and the gratitude for being able to connect. And that's why when we begin services, we start with Baruch Hu. We say we want to acknowledge that we're part of a force that's greater than ourselves, and we bend our knee. We acknowledge that we're woven in a web of something that is much greater than each one of us individually. And then Natalie is now part of the ether net of that web, the ethereal net of that web as well. So. Naruchu et Yah HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Yah HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. So here we are. The light is beginning to come back slowly but surely, but it's still evening. It's evening, the evening, the fray edges of our lives, Mari, Aravi, Amen. With words you even the evenings. Wisdom opens gates locked around our hearts. Asher bidvaro bariva ravim. Bechokma potech she'arim. Evening, the evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Mari, Aravim, Amen. Understanding alters with the times, changing seasons, cycles divine. Uvit funam eshanetim, umachali the evening, the fray edges of our lives, Mari, Aravim, Amen. Spirit of the night, we bless your name, eternal light, eternal flame. El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. The evening, the frayed edges of our lives, Ma'ariv, Aravim, Amen. Ma'ariv, Aravim, So we even the evenings together, and we recognize that we have been joined by a number of beloveds as well. And so please keep on doing what you're doing in the chat room, which is to say, here, this is me, and here's where I'm from. As we move from evening into a place of love.
So this moment in which our hope and prayer, and it seems to be the reality that those of you who loved Natalie are now encircled, both in your love for her, her love for you, coming together as family. And so inviting you to just pause for a moment, tune into the heart, and let it fill with that bittersweet place of love for her, of missing her, of love that overflows and extends to each other at this tender time. We are a circle, circle, circle of love. 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 We are a circle. Through time and space, your glory shines. We are a circle of love. Across this whole land, we are a circle of love. From Atlanta to Knoxville, Tennessee, from Philly and across the sea, we are a circle, circle, circle of love. 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 And that love flows through all that is, uniting us as one in the oneness of being. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Mezuzot betecha uvisharecha. Connection of the Shema brings us to this place of redemption, this place where we feel that we are together in who we are and what we do, supporting each other. Micha mocha. We all live neath the great big dipper. We're all washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Come on, people, let's go together. We're all swimming to the other side. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai.
Fokea lifnei Moshe, Zaili anu v'amru, L'nayim lo le'olam ba'ed. We all live neath the great big dipper. We're all washed by the very same rain.
We're all swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship the ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Come on, people, let's come together. We're all swimming to the other side. We're all swimming to the other side. We're all swimming to the other side.
Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Enable us, God, to behold meaning in the chaos of life about us and purpose in the chaos of life within us. Deliver us from the sense of futility in our strivings toward the light and the truth. Give us strength to ride safely through the maelstrom of petty cares and anxieties. May we behold things in their proper proportions and see life in its wholeness and holiness.
Spread over us your canopy of peace. I want just to take a moment in time as we're here gathered, and one of the ways that we can comfort each other is both to acknowledge our own loss, but also through that reach out to others. And think for a moment, this prayer, Ufros Aleinu, invites us to spread the canopy of peace over all those in need. And yes, traditionally the prayer is asking God to spread a canopy of security and peace over us. But just take a moment and think in your heart the comfort or care you're experiencing now. Who else you want to bring under your wing? There might be somebody who's in this room that you're going to make a note. This prayer is a commitment for you to make sure that you give a call. Some of you were in touch with Natalie very regularly, and there's going to be a void. And so committing to be in touch with you is an important way of spreading that canopy. And for others of you, you may have loved ones or friends who are struggling with health, with COVID issues, employment issues. Just think, even in this place, we can open our hearts even when we're being held in our own loss, and find comfort in the ability to care for others too. Just in this moment. Fros aleinu sukkah shalomecha ufros aleinu sukkah shalomecha. Spread over us wings of peace. Spread over all of us wings of peace. Another wonderful thing about being able to work in this medium is you can call support every now and then. So sometimes it's even yourself that you're going to call upon. So as we transition to the Amidah prayer, the great standing prayer. I'm going to invite one of our dear friends and colleagues, Juliet Spitzer, is going to join me with this one in a pre-recording piece. And I'll invite you to let this Amidah prayer wash over you. You may have a Siddur. You might want to find your way in the liturgy right now, but also the invitation to let the music, or even shut your eyes, so that we're not kind of glued to the Zoom all the time, and we allow the sea of prayer to wash over us as well. So whatever speaks to you, we're going to take these next few moments in Amidah time, and we'll come out the other end together. Adonai Sifatai Tiftachu Fiyagid Tehillah Tehilatecha 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 Adonai Sifatai Tiftachu Fiyagid Tehillah Tehilatecha Tehilatecha Tehilatecha. Blessings from our ancestors, blessings when we live in our power, blessings when we live in holiness, blessings on this day, on this blessed day, on this blessed day. The blessing of your presence return to our presence. So thankful for this life, for the blessings of this life, for this beautiful life, for the blessing of this life. Oseh Shalom, Shalom Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'kol Yisrael, Ve'kol Yoshvei Tevel.
So we move towards the Aleinu prayer. And the second half of this prayer really is all about the notion that we are God's partners, that we are the hands, we are the ways through which, the vessels through which God's goodness flows into the world. And I did not have the honor of knowing Natalie, but I've read a little bit about her and heard Razel speak so beautifully at the funeral, and I know you've all been sharing stories. But she contributed a lot to this beautiful creation, this world that we live in. And as we do the Aleinu, I invite you to put into the chat box there, what was her vision? What would this world look like if Natalie's vision were to come to be? So a world in which, I know she fed people, brought meals, she was a hostess, she did so many things to make the world a better place. So in the chat box, go ahead when we do the Aleinu prayer and just share some of the vision of how Natalie contributed to the world, what it would look like if her visions were to come to be, of the kind of world we could create together. And as you're writing that in the chat box, this is a piece, a little line from the Aleinu that talks about that tikkun, that place of creating the world we want to live in.
Any resemblance to the person on the cover of this to Natalie is just purely coincidental. Hello there.
Everyone would have a Shabbat invite.
וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, מלכות שדי. וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, עולם נטע בתוכנו, עולם נטע בתוכנו, עולם נטע בתוכנו, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, לתקן עולם, מלכות שדי.
That Shabbat invite came up again. I know it was a big one. Everyone would have the resources. Have one. Go to one. World where all people are respected for just as
We'd be going out for lunch every day. We'd be uplifted by Natalie's holiness in the ordinary aspects of living. So we've arrived at that moment where the family will be saying Mourner's Kaddish, and as in Jewish tradition, it's never just a private affair. Even though we're here for you specifically, Natalie's family, there are many of us amongst us. I see Kohenet Shoshana, myself, others who have lost parents and loved ones this year as well. And so we come here as well in the comfort of community to be able to link arms. But before we get to that point, and we'll screen share the Mourner's Kaddish when we get there, I know that Pace, that you prepared some remarks tonight. I guess you drew the Monday straw. And so we want to open the floor, and please unmute yourself. And for those of you that want to just see Pace's Punim, on the top where it says view on the top right, you can choose speaker view or gallery view. Speaker view will allow you to see the person who's speaking right at that moment as well. So Pace, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and I guess thank you for being here to honor Natalie.
Pace, turn your volume up a little bit. Or sit closer.
Louder. I'm sure you can turn your microphone on. But anyway, hello, everybody. We're glad you're here. It's so nice to see so many people to honor Natalie. As I was thinking about writing her obituary last week, so many messages were coming in about Natalie, and I think it was Mark Bernstein said the other night that pretty much everybody had a universal opinion of Natalie. She was kind, she was graceful, she was humble, etc., and dignified, and frankly, it was pretty easy to put the words down on paper because the subject was so universal and etc. So, however, I got a couple funny stories. I do want to say thank you, and I resisted to put her obituary on Facebook because I'm not that necessarily that kind of a person, but I did today, and if anybody wants to go see it, but there were literally hundreds of comments more, again, along the same vein of, what a special person she was and what she meant to people. And I was surprised at the almost dozens of people who commented that when they first got to Knoxville, Natalie had them over for Shabbat dinner. And maybe some of you that were on here, but evidently that one of her missions was to welcome people to the community. And she was a great host at her house and did that over and over again. However, I got a couple of stories here that may not, well, I'll just put it this way. Last night, somebody mentioned Uncle Reuben. And if you knew Uncle Reuben, he was quite a character. And Natalie's brother, Uncle Gilbert, was quite a character as well. And when we were growing up, those guys, I mentioned at Gilbert's funeral last year, to me, they were like Austin Powers. They were cool guys. They had cars, they had girls, they were just living the high life. Well, as you can imagine, Natalie, that always didn't sit well with Natalie because she loved them both, but maybe they weren't such a great example for all the rest of us. Well, it came to a head a couple of times when I must have been about 17. And as usual, we were doing a Modern Supply trip to Hawaii. And I got to go, and AJ got to go with his roommate. And I had the pleasure of rooming with Uncle Reuben. Well, that was great. A dream come true. I'm rooming with Austin Powers. Well, as some of you been around for a while, the old system when there's a sock on the doorknob, move along. You don't go back in the room. Well, Uncle Reuben and I had set up the arrangement, and lo and behold, I came back to the hotel room and there's a sock on the doorknob. So I couldn't go in. And I went and stayed in my brother's room. And of course, I don't know if AJ remembers, but we had a great laugh. Here's Uncle Reuben. He's already there the second night, and he's scoring, if you will. So we loved it. However, somehow Natalie got wind of that. And oh my gosh, she led into Reuben like none of you had ever seen the fury that she had. You never saw that from her, but she let Reuben have it. What a terrible example he was for us. Are you on there, AJ? You remember that? Anyway, that was one.
I do remember it.
That was one test of her dignity, if you will, or her composure. The other ones was her brother Gilbert was had some different things he was interested in. Sometimes he also liked cars and nice houses and boats and stuff, and I liked to gamble. And at some point, he actually owned a club, a gentleman's club, you might say. And yes, this is Natalie's brother, believe it or not. And one evening, I don't know how it happened, but my mother and father and I went to Gilbert's gentleman's club. And again, most of you on here know Natalie. You know Mitchell, that was no sweat for him. But for Natalie to arrive at a strip club with me, at the time, I'm sure I was well into my 20s or whatever. Were you around then? No. Oh, yes, you were, but you didn't go. Anyway, it just, it was a different side of Natalie. She wasn't upset over that, but again, she had to hold herself in a certain way that you would never see normally. So those were a couple of funny stories. I got one or two others. One was Natalie blessed me at least with hair color turning gray early, and hers did too. And evidently sometime when I was about in first grade, I came home and made a comment, something to the effect of, why was my mother so much older than all the other mothers? Well, she was letting her hair go gray. The next day, she was brunette. And she colored her hair for the next 30 years, I'd say. But she had to have that, as we talked before, you know, she had to look good, and especially her hair. A couple other quick things. One was, it's really a story more about Randy and I, but Eli, our oldest, wanted to have a sleepover party at the lake when he was in high school out here. And I did not want to be responsible for high school teenagers coming out to a lake at night. And I did not approve of that. I said, you got to go ask your grandmother. It's her house. Our house wasn't here yet. And I'm thinking, there's no way she's gonna do this. Well, lo and behold, she approved. And so Razel was in town for some reason, and we had to chaperone at first he said it was 8 people, I think, or 10. And then, and parents were calling to say, you know, is this going to be okay? And they're not going to go swimming in the lake at night. And then another 20 kids show up, and I'm just petrified. So and Natalie, she's inside, she's not worried about anything. And Razel and I said, come on, let's go have a talk with these kids. So my talk was going to be, we ain't going swimming. It's dark in the lake, and, you know, we're not going to do that. Razel launches into sexually transmitted diseases lecture, which had nothing, you know, it didn't matter at all. That's not what we were worried about. Anyway, no diseases were transmitted, and they did go swim in the lake, but Natalie didn't care about that at all.
Dad, I believe the phrase that Tante Nape asked all my friends was, you guys are aware about what communicable diseases are, correct? That was the question that she asked everybody. I was mortified.
I looked at her and said, you know, WTF? What are you talking about here? I'm worried about them drowning. Okay, lastly, Mitchell in his infinite wisdom purchased a very nice long-term care policy that helped take care of Natalie. It was brilliant. He bought it 30 years ago. We probably couldn't buy it today. It'd be too expensive. But you had to, in order to get the benefits, you had to qualify, and you had to not be able to get yourself dressed, not be able to answer questions, et cetera. And Natalie was getting to that point 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And the person had to come out and evaluate her. And it was a physical evaluation as well as a mental. And I'm trying to coach Nat to tank the test. Nat, you can't, don't answer the questions correctly. We want to get these insurance benefits. And yeah, she says, yeah, I got it, So sure enough, the lady comes out, and Natalie is answering math questions that I've never heard her do before in my life. She couldn't balance a checkbook, and all of a sudden she's acing the quiz on the insurance test. And it was just fascinating to see that she rose to the occasion somehow and managed to, and unfortunately the physical part of the test didn't work, and we got the benefits anyway. But it was interesting to see her rise up when she had to. And anyway, I just want to say how amazed I have been at the outpouring of comments and messages and et cetera. People that knew her 40 years ago, people that hadn't seen her in a long time, and friends of ours as well. I want to say thank you to everybody. And I think we have a slideshow of pictures. Is that appropriate to do now? Or do we want to? It's not long.
Yeah. How long is it, Pace?
Ash, how long we got?
Probably like 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
So you know what I'm going to suggest is why don't we do Kaddish and finish the service, and then everyone can stay on as long. You can do that slideshow maybe right after. That'll be a lovely bonus director's cut version. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. Let's do it.
So I feel you've really brought Natalie into the room in some vibrant ways, and the words of Kaddish to flow from that to celebrate and to acknowledge her life. And so for all of those who are mourning the loss of a loved one in this last year, or whose yahrzeit of a loved one it is at this time, or have their own custom around Kaddish, we join you. And again, know that if you're not actively saying Kaddish right now, just choose one of the family members, or maybe scan them as well. It's not being shared? Oh, okay. We'll try that again.
And as we move towards Mourner's Kaddish, many of you may realize that though we associate this, of course, with the death of a loved one, that it really is not about death at all. It really is very much about life. And so as the family says Mourner's Kaddish for Natalie, and as others who have lost someone recite these words, to just be committed to bringing who they are, who they were, into life and the way that you live.
Why don't you?
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael v'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei shnei Rabbi Nevarach Amlalmei Hamaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata Damiran Belma Vimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Vimru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. V'imru Amen.
Amen. May her memories continue to bless all of you always. And thank you for the honor, giving us both the honor of walking this part of the journey with you and with all your blessed compatriots who are here tonight. And Pace, actually, why don't you, if you have co-host capabilities or, if Rachel can give those to you, why don't you start playing, is it a slideshow with no sound?
We're going to turn it over to my
Turn it over to
nephew,
my son Asher, who's the ultimate host.
Yeah, Asher's the
Okay.
ultimate host.
Right. So the reason I'm asking is instead of doing the closing song, I'll do that song over the slideshow. That's why I was asking if there was no music.
We got music to it,
There
John.
is music.
Okay. Well, then we're going to end with the slideshow, and I'll forego that because Natalie gets priority. So go for it.
Hit it, Ash.
Asher put this together in one day. I just have to give him credit, him and Laura credit. Sent him a bunch of pictures.
Everyone see?
Yeah, we're good.
We can say.
Upon my hand, you reside within my heart. Memories are in my mind. You are with me always. Comings and goings, living in the unknowing, beginnings and endings. I'm glad we've had this time. I love you, thank you, forgive me. I'm grateful for what you've given me. I'm with you always. Comings and goings, living in the unknowing, beginnings and endings. I'm glad we've had this time. Thankful for this time with you. Grateful for what I know is true. The love between us will remain. You are with me always. Comings and goings, living in the unknowing, beginnings and endings. Glad we had this time. Never read a dark evening, Shahina, just my rain new. Malachi, go on, leave, yet I Shahina, teach Morocco, rock, teach more and not shame, teach more, take, say, go, and may I time, yeah, no love. Never went through, it's AJ. Keep it love, it's a red love, teach Morocco, and goings, living in the unknowing, beginnings and endings. Glad we had this time. I'm glad we had this time. I'm glad beginnings and endings. Coming and going, living in the unknowing. Running now, we'll ride to the rocking joy. The running now, we'll rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. We'll rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. We'll rock to the rocking joy. Now Ria, let's say to rock to the rocking joy. Now Ria, let's say to rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Hurry to sing those songs of thanks. Rock to the rocking joy. Time to let our spirit dance. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. 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 Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Let's shout out our songs of praise. Rock to the rocking joy. Harmony, our voices raise. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Rock to the rocking joy. Rock to the rocking Keep it love, it's a red light, different cold, don't
All right. I will say I tried my best to put them in chronological order, but on top of my my father's anecdote earlier, the hair color I thought was going to be my guide, but it kept going back and forth a little bit. So I did my best.
Ash,
Did a great job, Ash.
you did a yeoman's job to crash that out in one day. That is unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
If anybody else has any more pictures, by the way, we'd love to keep adding to that show. So email them to Razel or AJ or I, and we'll get them on this program.
Right, we'll get them maybe by tomorrow night or the next night. We'll have a bunch. So I wanted to add a story. And Pace, you can help me with this. It's the story of my mother's freezer. And growing up in Tennessee was not easy to be Jewish. You know, we had high school friends praying for our souls that we wouldn't go to hell. You know, it's a small community. People, I live in Philadelphia, people always go, they're Jews in Tennessee? And it's like, yeah. And one of the things that was hard to get was kosher food. And my mother did not grow up keeping kosher. In fact, we used to go over to her mother's on Sunday mornings to eat bacon and eggs, because when she decided to keep kosher, her house was kosher. But I guess when we went to Mommy Ella's, we ate the bacon. Anyway, so she chose to be kosher, and getting kosher food, even to this day, is not that easy, as my sister-in-law and brother can attest. And she would have to order it in advance from Atlanta and store it at the University of Tennessee freezer. Pace, would you like to pick up the story from here?
We had to go get the stuff out. It was a giant walk-in freezer somewhere on UT campus. I guess you didn't have a freezer at your home in 1960 or whatever.
Not a big enough freezer for several months.
That's what she had to do to keep kosher.
And did it impress you that we would go as kids, and my mother would open the door to this freezer, and there would be like fog come out from the dry ice, and we would see our mother disappear into the fog and then come out with a roast. Like it was a very mysterious thing that made an impression on us. And to this day, it's hard to get kosher food in Knoxville, so she would order it and put it in that freezer. And we would call that freezer the vault. And we never know what was going to come out of the vault. So I just had to throw that in there in terms of what links she went to keep us fed and all that. So
one thing that struck me on, changing the topic from raw meat, as I was watching that slideshow, and I made them, for those of you who were on the Zoom a couple of nights ago, I made the majority of my remarks then. But Mommy Nat, that woman loved to be on the go. Like, she loved to travel and go lots of places. And it's funny because if I think about a stereotypical relationship between a grandchild and a grandparent, the grandparent also often is quite sedentary, unfortunately, right? A grandparent doesn't have but Mommy Nat always was moving more than me. She's always going to different places, and she loved geography. She used to have these atlases in her house that we would break out and we would have conversations. I think the only time I've ever used an atlas is in Mommy Nat's house.
They're still there.
It was like old Rand McNally atlases, and they were so old. I remember that some of them were out of date. It was like the countries had changed names and the borders were different from when we used them. But
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But she would get out those atlases because whenever she was talking about where we were going or where she was going or something in the world, she always kind of wanted it to be kind of geospatially applicable to where we were and where it was. And I just remember, I don't. Now it just seems so archaic with Google Maps and Garmin and Waze, but she had those paper atlases, and we would always, she'd be like, do you know where Thailand is? And I'd be like, I don't know. And, back when you had to, I am going to date everybody else because I'm going to be crazy, but you had the legend with like the letters across the top and the numbers down, and it was like in square M3 is like how you would find where these things are. Everybody over the age of 50 is like, yeah, that's how you use an atlas. But for me, it was like, it's the only time I ever had to learn how to do that. And she just had a special relationship with the world around her. She was the least sedentary grandparent I can imagine. And she was always in those photos. How many different countries was she in those photos? It's probably 15 or 20. Like, she would love to be on the move. Anyway, that's what struck me when I was watching that slideshow. Dad, you got to keep those atlases. Don't let those things, I got to see, where it's Zaire and Burma and, some old countries that I, didn't really see anymore. But anyway,
Did she give you a globe or something for your?
She gave me a glove. Mommy Nat was a weird gift giver. I don't know if you guys, if for any of you who received gifts from Mommy Nat, it was not one of her strong suits. The highlight of that for me was one time, this is the funniest thing in the world. Mommy Nat loved the flea market in Florida. And one day she just mailed me up this like cloth thing. Is it in there? Yeah. She mailed me up this piece. Yeah, she mailed me up this piece of cloth, and she said, I think it was happy birthday. And it was like life's great mystery as to what Mommy Nat had sent to me. And
show it.
Yeah, Sarah's going to get it.
Show it. Not, yeah.
So anyway, but Mommy Nat, we'll bring it out in a second, but Mommy Nat was a bad gift giver. She like gave me this massive globe, but like it wasn't a nice globe. Like a globe you would get at Dillard's for $29. And I was like, I don't need a crappy globe in my, so here it is. Here's the cloth thing with dolphins on it. Mommy Nat sent this to me for, I think it was like my birthday. And I called her up and I said, Mommy Nat, I think this is the first time that I've ever received a gift and I don't know what it is. And she said, well, isn't that a fun game? To her, it was like, that was part of the thing. Anyway, it took us, I think it must have taken me days, but it's none other than a toilet paper holder that you hang in your bathroom so you can have a couple extra rolls. Like, at your disposal. And she bought it at the Florida flea market and sent it up to me for my birthday. I still have a cheese board that she sent me, basically it is?
Yeah.
It's a relatively non-functional cheese board. We returned the globe. I've got the toilet paper. So I'm glad we're lauding the woman for so many great things, but man, she was a poor gift giver. Just what? By the way, if anybody needs a toilet paper holder, Sarah's been trying to get rid of it from when we moved in together. So let me know. It holds 2 rolls, but not the super big ones. Only the normal size rolls, not the new fancy. It's a hell of a.
Got a story on since we were talking about food and kosher food. Mitchell grew up the son of a rabbi in a very strictly kosher home, and I think when he left to go to the army, he was like the bird out of the cage and started changing. But when we were growing up, he was strictly kosher. Natalie grew up as Reform and didn't keep kosher, but as life went on, they changed positions, and Natalie became more conservative, more glot kosher, really until the last few years. She was strictly kosher. Mitchell, I remember the one of the first business trips I went on him, we went to a reception, and he couldn't stay away from the shrimp table. And he's garbaging down shrimp like I've never seen before. And it just struck me, wow, I didn't really know my dad. and anyway, he went the other way, and she became more conservative. However, we the last few years when she went to the assisted living where she is now, we kind of gave up on trying to. It was hard to keep kosher. And I was talking to her once, I'll say a year ago, "How you doing, Mom? What'd you have for lunch?" "Salami and cheese sandwich," which she probably hadn't had in 40 or 50 years. It was kind of funny that, she went back to what she was like, I guess, a long time ago.
Dad, I think it was Asher and I who were joking, but I think Zadie has best enjoyed the last 19 years wherever he is, because now that Mommy Nat's back, the diet is beginning once again. We're going back to the low fat, the low carb. I hope he's been pigging out for the last couple decades.
No salt, no cholesterol,
Zero sodium.
I want to just say thank you to Rabbi Sean and Rabbi Simcha for the service and to holding us here tonight. I know you have to go to another meeting, so I just want to send you off with love and just appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much.
Great welcome to be with all of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see that, is Heidi still on here? Did Heidi get off? Heidi, are you here? If you are, unmute yourself and say hello. No, maybe she got off. That's okay. I'll save it. Maybe she'll get back on some other night. But my mother, Pace, that story you told about Mom and getting mad at Uncle Reuben, I had never heard that story. But I do know that, she and my father didn't really yell and scream or have words. And I remember at some point I ran away to the Rosses. Heidi was on here because I just couldn't stand it anymore that nobody was being authentic. And if you were mad, why didn't we know you were mad? And I remember saying to my mother, why can't you be like the Rosses and yell some more? It's creepy to be this composed. And so I have a different understanding of my mother and her anger. It's interesting. Anybody else on here? Yeah. AJ. Yeah.
So before everybody gets to the Zoom hour where you lose everyone, just a couple of announcements. Number one, it may look like we were trying to sell Raisel's songs tonight. That was not the intention of Shiva tonight. But those of you who are interested can contact her directly. I'm sure you can work something out. But that definitely was not the intention of Shiva tonight. Secondly, tomorrow night is election Shiva night. So from Atlanta, we'll be watching the election returns. I do want to mention one thing about my mother's, let's just say, political stripes, and my father. Most of you, I think a lot of people who are still on, grew up in the South, and it was always, it appeared to be that the males were all, even the Jewish males, were all conservative, voted for people like Reagan or or the Bushes, or even before Eisenhower. I think our Uncle Jarvin was a delegate to the Eisenhower convention. But I want you to know that Mom was the only person I know who voted for Shirley Chisholm in 1972 in the Democratic primary of 1972. As many of you know, Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman elected to Congress, I think, in '68, and ran for president in '72. In the primary, I think McGovern beat her and ended up losing to Nixon, but she was very proud of the fact. I don't think my dad voted for Shirley Chisholm, though. So anyway, I wanted to throw in that election history of Natalie Robinson and her progressive views on elections. She also voted, for those of you who, she did vote in the November election by absentee ballot in Tennessee. I think she was one of three that voted for Biden in the whole state, but we're very proud of that. So thanks again on behalf of the Atlanta contingent for everybody who has been on, and for all the emails and all the support that we have had these last few days. And we're very grateful for all of it. Thank you.
I think I once told Mommy Nat that I voted. I think in the first election I could vote, I voted for McCain in 2008. And Mommy Nat gave me one of those looks that only she had, kind of that, ooh, you know, like this, like a, you know, like it was like a, she couldn't understand it. And I've voted for Democrats ever since then, but I just remember that kind of like, you know, one of those, like, you know, no grandchild of mine will be casting votes like that, you know, now that Zadie's not around. It was just, I remember that woman was a Democrat. She bled blue, man. Like, you know, I couldn't, you know, I was like I remember being like an uppity high schooler, being like, you know, well, you know, I've come to the conclusion that the parties aren't a really good way to govern America, whatever. And Mommy Nat was like, you're wrong. You need to vote for all the Democrats every time. That was her. She loved them. So if she has anything to do with what's going on in Georgia tomorrow, she'll be tipping the scales.
Eli, I'm pretty sure my mother has given me that look. I'm fairly confident I know what that feels like.
AJ?
Brandy is the.
Brandy, AJ?
Yes.
Yes, Barbara.
AJ, I think this audience needs to know about Natalie trip to Rome with you riding a horse into the dining room of the hotel. I'm sorry we don't have any pictures of that, but it was certainly a tremendous.
I'm happy to tell that story, Bernie.
Tell her.
So for those of you who particularly from Knoxville, know that my father had promotional trips for his customers at Modern Supply. And he was usually, he chartered planes, and you know, he always had extra seats, and the Bernsteins and I think the Sayas maybe and others used to he would invite to come on trips. And there was a trip to Italy. I want to say this was about 1976, 77. I was still in college. And my dad, I think, was not well. And this was a big trip. It was to Rome, Italy. And so I went as the host with my mother, who he knew wouldn't make a speech to anyone if called upon. And what Bernie is referring to is that they always, like, it was a party, like a theme party at the end of each promotional trip. And we have those pictures. The theme was a toga party. And everyone in the trip was given a toga. And I think one of those, like a Roman thing to wear on their head. And we had a head table, I remember, and it was really kind of a crazy thing. But I think, again, what Bernie's referring to was my father must have bought the whole package, because at some point in the evening, I was asked to come outside the ballroom. It was a big ballroom, a couple hundred people, and mount on a chariot with horses and come stampeding into the room. And we on this chariot. And I don't know why my dad insisted that I'd be the one to do that, but I did. And my mother, I remember, was in shock that we were participating, first of all, in a toga party, and second of all, that we were going to do that, because I guess that was going to be Dad riding in on the chariot. But again, I know all the folks of that generation had some fun trips with Mitch and Nat on those. Portugal, Italy, Curacao, Hawaii, I mean, Mexico, many times. We had a good time on those Modern Supply trips. But yeah, it was a long time ago, but it was fun.
I see David Bailoff's here, and he and Sam are here, and they were on late last night, and I told him I'd bring him on tonight, that he had some words or wishes. So David, if you can unmute yourself and we'll find you. Are you awake?
No, I'm wide awake. I just wanted to say that obviously our families go way back. The fact that my grandmother and your grandmother were neighbors and great friends, and both of our mothers were great friends, and AJ and Pace and Joel and Richard, I think we even got them up to Campbell County a couple of times. But the story that I mentioned to you last night was that I think our mothers got together and decided, AJ, you need to hear this, that we need to take dancing lessons. And it was on Saturday night. So there's no way that we wanted to do this at all. We didn't like this. And we'd have to go up. The guys, AJ, you can chime in if you want. I think the girls were on one side and the guys were on the other side. And it was terrible. And I think it got to the point where one time we just danced our way right out of the place. It was right below the Kenwood by Reed's grocery store. And it was terrible. And I hated it. And I was talking to my dad about it last night, and he goes, yeah, I told you and AJ that if you took dancing lessons, it might improve your basketball skills. So I don't remember him telling either of us that, but he said that was the way I convinced you guys to go do it. But it was awful. And then our two mothers, I think, would commiserate on what I said or what he said. But anyway, how they got together with this conspiracy to take dancing lessons, gosh, I'll never know that. And it didn't help me one bit. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, David. I do remember that.
It was terrible.
Well, see, this was, David, you have just confirmed my story about my mother sending me to charm school, my mother's intervention with Eli, and my mother trying to shape AJ up too and make us presentable for society. That was her job, to make us presentable and have all the skills we needed.
It didn't work for me either, so we're pretty much on. It didn't help me one bit. She tried to reform somebody from Campbell County when we used to, because like I told you last night, the Campbell County guys and the Rockwood people, we always sat on the back row when we went to services. But eventually, knowing your family, I think we moved up to the front row or closer in the synagogue. And I'll go to mute.
That's okay, David, that was great. Sam Bailoff, are you here? Would you like to say something?
I think he turned it
Turned
off.
it off, okay.
I think he doesn't know how to turn it off, but I think he just walked away.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to share a story that has not been heard, or some words or something? If so, you can unmute yourself and start to talk. Anybody?
I remember, if nobody else takes the mantle, I remember one time when I was 13 years old. For those of you who don't know, our family chants Jonah at Pesca Muna, and I don't think we know how long it's been going on. It's we think, Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, Zadie's father probably did it at Pesca Muna too, so it might be 100 years. Is that like a weird guess? Anyway, I remember that when I was 13, that was the year before he passed away, was the first year I was getting bar mitzvahed. And so Nancy Becker, I don't think she's on tonight, hatched a plan with my mom to help me do the first 4 lines of Jonah. And I remember that I can remember it was a 3-generation Jonah. Because Zadie was still alive and went up and did the blessings, and I did a little something, and Dad did the majority of it. And I just remember that the look on Mommy Nat's face when we came back down from the bema after doing it. I would guess, quite candidly, that was probably the last time Zadie was on that bema. He was probably on 1,000 times in his life. And it was like this Lador Vador moment that I had no appreciation for when I was 13. I barely have appreciation for it now. But Mommy Nat, you could tell, knew it. She knew exactly what was happening. And yeah, I remember, she kind of she wasn't a very forceful hugger. She was a pretty diminutive woman, but she gave me one of those signature hugs after that, I remember. And only looking back at it do I realize what was actually in her eyes when she was looking at us. It was like one of those things that, I would have never been able to know. And my bar mitzvah was a couple years later, or a couple months later, and Zadie passed away a year later after that, and he was ill come the next high holidays. But it's kind of one of those, eerie that that was one of those moments you just don't think about very often. And then, now that I was just thinking about some of those signature moments with Mommy Nat, and that was just one. She didn't have to say anything. I remember her face. Remember that, Dad? That was like and we'll have to, some combination of the rabbi and I don't know, maybe Uncle Bernie can help us. I don't know how many years. We'd have to go way back into the record. It may be 100 years. That would be wild to think, but is the rabbi still on? What year was Pesca Muna founded? I don't even know. When Rabbi AJ was like a founding member.
And just for those who don't know, Mafter Yonah, the Torah of Jonah, is said on Yom Kippur afternoon for Mincha. So back in the day, it used to be a great honor to get that. So it's been passed down. You got to carry the torch, Eli.
Honestly, I think it's the worst honor of the year. It's 20 minutes at the end of Yom Kippur. I mean, you got to come back for the afternoon. You're tired. You're parched. I'm channeling my inner Zadie, basically being like, is there something we can trade it in for? Is there like another thing out there? But no, it's really, every time I do it, I think about him. I never heard him do it. Not that I can remember, but I think about him, and he would have been, like I said, a generational thing. He would have sat in the pews and listened to his dad do it. And he would have thought to himself, and here we are 4 or 5 generations later, still working through it. I've tried to get Asher involved, but he's more of like a, early break fast kind of guy. There's a lot of football games sometimes on Yom Kippur. So if anybody has any, guilt you want to layer on Ash, let me know. I see him,
No, but maybe Ethan will pick up the mantle.
Yeah, Ethan, come on. Any of AJ's kids, we'll take
Yeah,
it.
Ethan, I think I'm nominating Ethan. Start prepping for the Haftorah.
And I did a beautiful job this past year on streaming, and so did Pace.
There you go. See, you don't.
Gilia was mentioning, because Gilia has done Neela at Heskemuna for not 100 years, but not 5 either. But she was mentioning how much Zadie loved Neela, like it was his favorite service of the year, and I was convinced because it was the closest to him eating. It was almost the end. That sounds like how he would have said it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, I think we'll bring us in for a landing here tonight. We do have a couple of more nights. We are so grateful and honored that all of you are on here. I do see that there's a lot of people from Knoxville that are still here that might have a story. Please come back tomorrow night and tell us something. I see family. I see lots of people that we love. So my friends are here and Simcha's here, and just thank you all for being here. And if there's any questions, I'll hang out here for a little bit. I know my brother has to go to bed early, so he's excused. He's got to get up and catch the worm in the morning. So I just send you all off with love and thank you very much for being here. And like I said, I'll hang up, but I'm just gonna. So since you've had enough of my music, AJ, you have to have the final song then to sing everybody out. How about an Oseh Shalom from the Atlanta Robinsons or something like that? Come on.
Oseh Shalom Vimrama, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. See you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good. And I am going to be having a Shiva all month. So if anybody's interested in that, they can just email me directly. But good night, everybody. Unless, of course, you want to hang out here a little bit. Have anything to say? Allison, good to see you over there. Stephanie, we got the Difflers in the house. So you guys can hang in there. You're on California time. I appreciate you being here. I really do. You could unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi, Rachel. This is Rafe.
Hey, Rafe. You wrote some beautiful words on Facebook.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for being here. And you shepherded my mother back and forth to a lot of, was it archive meetings?
Archives, Heskemuna.
Yeah.
Alan Breakfast.
You were her ride there for lots.
ACC. We even have Winston Churchill's grandson lecture.
She would go anywhere. If she had a ride, she'd go anywhere. Really? Really? You did a big mitzvah for years.
Oh, thank you so much.
No.
Cindy?
Yes, Cindy.
Cindy, ask the Bernsteins who are muted if they recognize Mother.
The Bernsteins who are muted. I'll get them to unmute.
Yeah.
And then where's your mother, though? Is she still?
She's already off. but I made sure Marlene and Barbara,
Yes.
did you recognize my mom, Shirley Mandel? Shirley Robinson?
Was she on? No, I
Yes.
did not. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You'll have to drag it back tomorrow night, Cindy.
I got it.
You know, this is probably not the time to do it, but I'm seeing Stephanie Dickler, who I have not seen in how many years, Stephanie?
Yeah, what happened to Joyce?
And Joyce, I've seen Joyce, but Stephanie.
Yeah.
I think I saw you at Nori's wedding for the last time.
Right. Right.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Shirley.
Yeah. And I was
Joyce,
pregnant,
love
so it
Joyce.
was like 21 years ago, probably, or 20 years ago.
It is so nice to see you. Maybe this is the time to say something I've been wanting to say. You know, there's a photograph of the religious school at Sonoma in 1904. And in the front row is about a 5-year-old Jaime Levison and a 4-year-old Ben Winnick. That's Natalie's father.
Wow.
My father. And there's a lot of things that are over. Joyce, we need you to identify people now that Natalie's gone. Not too young.
I spent many afternoons identifying people. I'm gonna come to Knoxville for a month in July, just to go through pictures. She was on the archives committee with you, Barbara. So
She was on every committee we ever served on. We both were on.
You both were on every committee. Rob, were you on there too? On the archives? Yeah.
Very much so.
Cindy,
Yeah.
how is Shirley? How is Shirley?
Cindy, you got to unmute.
She's talking.
Maybe she's trying to get her back on.
Yeah, can Marlene get you back on?
Stephanie, where are you?
Who?
Stephanie.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mom.
Oh. I thought I was on.
Never mind. It's too late. Is it too late for you to get on? Do you want to talk to Barbara Burns? Okay. Bye. All right. Bye. Bye.
Tomorrow night.
Wait, she'll
Okay,
come.
did you hear that whole conversation? It's already too late. Sorry, too late.
You're among family, though. It's okay.
Too late.
Hey, Razel.
Whatever.
Razel.
Yes.
My brother Michael's a rabbi in Norfolk. He's a very close friend of your husband on Facebook.
What's your brother's name?
Michael Panitz.
Oh, well,
For 30 years, Temple Israel in Norfolk. He's a good friend of your husband.
I'll ask them about it.
Michael Panitz.
We're gonna say good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, all. See you tomorrow.
My friend Rose is getting this. That it's a small
Good
town,
night.
small town Jews family. It's a whole other thing. Yes. Hey,
One last question for you.
Yeah.
How's Fake Luck related to you?
How's
Fake Luck related to you?
Faye Gluck is my father's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how she's related.
Thanks.
I wish I could get her on here. I'm going to get Richard to work on that. I don't know if it's possible.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Take care.
Here.
Bye-bye.
Sandy, give Alfred a hug for us. Stephanie, where are you? Are you in San Diego? Where are you? LA?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Laguna Beach.
Laguna Beach. How far are you from your mom?
About an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Okay.
Which is a big depend.
Thank you so much for being here. Do you have a Natalie story by any chance?
I have a Mitchell story, but I don't have a Natalie story.
We'll take a Mitchell story.
All right. I was telling Mom this last night. The last time I saw your dad, I just had had my baby, and Mitchell was saying how beautiful he was over and over, which of course every mother loves to hear. It was so nice. But we were calling him AJ at the time, and Mitchell just lit up. He loved it that there was another AJ, and it's just a nice memory. He was so, you could just tell at that point in his life, he just loved it. So it was that's the last time I saw him. It was at Grandma's funeral.
So was that since the reunion, I guess? No.
Well, Cousin Mitchell wasn't at the reunion, was he? No, I don't think so.
I guess it was before that then. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, because that was 21 years ago.
What do you call the kid now?
Jamin.
Jamin?
Yeah, and what's wild is Richard Gluck has a son named Jamin.
Named Jamin. Well,
I could not believe that when I saw it on the family reunion. I wrote Richard immediately, and I said, "What is going on? 2 Jamins." I love that.
Well, thank you. All right, Joyce and Sandy. Hello. So shall I kiss you all good night tonight? Say we'll see you tomorrow?
Randy?
Yes, Joyce.
I was just today remembering old times.
Today you were remembering old times?
Well, with your mom and the family. And I was remembering when you lived on Valencia in Sequoia. I don't know how old you were when you moved to the lake. Do you?
Well, I never moved to the lake. My mother moved to the lake. And during the World's Fair, what happened is during the World's Fair, I came down, it must be the early 80s, 82, I guess. I came down from Toronto with a bunch of my friends. And that's when my father said, we're moving to the lake. And then they moved to the lake and stayed there. Because I brought down this whole wild crowd from Toronto.
So you were already grown when they moved.
The 80s, I was probably in my 20s or early 30s.
Okay, I didn't know. Well, they lived in Sequoia for a long time.
I was in my late 20s, yeah. Because I brought a wild boyfriend with me. That was it. They moved to the lake. They moved out. They moved out. So
I just remember parties at their house, and I remember when all the children were young, lunches over there. I mean, we saw a lot more of your folks when they were before.
Thank you. Well, just see if anything else comes to mind. Tell a story. I'd appreciate it. My brother's appreciating it. All right.
Rachel?
Yeah. Wait,
Is there some aspect of your mother that you feel like you carry forward?
Simcha Zevin asked that question, what would the world look like if Natalie's vision was in place? That's a beautiful question. And I do what my mother does. I invite people for Shabbos. I volunteer, not in the same way she does, but I give time in a lot of different ways to people, to things.
To community.
Yeah, I don't
Creating
take on.
community.
What'd you say?
Creating community.
Creating community, yeah. I don't do it as regularly as she did. She took it on and so I'm intermittent, but that's also in my bones. I still like to party. That's from my mother too. It's definitely from my mother. Well, COVID has kind of shut us down there, but I have my causes. She had her causes. But bring people together, all that stuff is my mother. All that stuff is my mother. And my father. But my mother, my father, my mother made it happen. She made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made it happen. Evelyn, I'll say hello to you too.
Hi, Razel.
Hi, Evelyn.
Sorry I'm so late.
It's all right, you're right on time. Right.
That's good.
Thanks for being here.
There are no words, really.
There's no words.
But I read all about your mom. And what you did and the effect that she's had on you, and it's really quite an amazing family that you come from. And that explains why you're so amazing and wonderful all by yourself.
Yeah, I think I got the best of both of them. So that's a good thing.
Very good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. It's the pictures where I see her with Daddy that I cry the most. I don't know why. Maybe it's because both of them. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here and keeping me company. Appreciate it. Almost say goodnight. Is that Harold though? That's my cousin. That's my father's first cousin is Joyce. Robinson-Raphael is over there. And
Can I surround you with angels before you go?
Thank you. Yes, I could use that. Oh, Hunty Ferret sent me this most amazing angel song. Maybe I'll play it for you guys. This is what I played for my mother. Give me a second to find it. This is what I played for my mother, like her last day. Let's see. So it might come out, I don't know how to do it so it doesn't come out warped.
I think you have to share screen and share
optimize sound. Okay, I'll try that.
Share sound or something like that.
Okay, so let's share screen. I'm gonna optimize share sound. Okay.
Love surround you, peace surround you, angels surround you every day, all day long, morning, noon, and night. You are surrounded by the light. Love surround you, peace surround you, angels surround you every day, all day long, morning, noon, and night. Surrounded by the light. You are surrounded by the light of God, the light of peace, the light of love. You are surrounded by the light of God, the light of peace, the light of love. Love surround you, peace surround you, angels surround you every day, all day long, morning, noon, and night. You are surrounded by the light. Love surround you, peace surround you, angels surround you every day, all day long, morning, noon, and night. You are surrounded by the light. You are surrounded by the light of God, the light of peace, the light of love. You are surrounded by the light of God, the light of peace, the light of love. Love surrounds peace around you, angels surround you, every.
You get the gist of it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, my Wild Women sisters. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Naharia, what does the cosmic time say is happening?
Well, basically, I think it kind of said we done good and we need to keep sending love out in the world. And I mean, it was very optimistic.
Uh-huh.
I have to go, I don't remember details. I could go grab it and read you the summary things if you want.
All right, can't take it in. We done good getting through the age of Aquarius and the solstice? Is that what?
Yeah, getting into it and doing the inner transformation work that needed to happen to like tilt the world in a positive direction.
Got it. Okay. Hopefully
towards
we'll find out
goodness and love and oneness.
We'll find out in the Senate race. All right.
I'm praying.
Good night, guys.
Take care, Razel. We're holding you.